One of the earliest additions to Paul's life was a dog named Dakota. From the moment Paul adopted Dakota as a puppy, the bond between them was instant and strong. They shared countless joyful moments, going for walks, playing games, and engaging in various adventures together. Their love for each other was evident, and the time they spent together was cherished. As Dakota matured from a playful puppy into a beautiful adult dog, Paul had a new idea. He noticed Dakota's striking appearance and thought about the potential benefits of breeding her. Paul reasoned that if he paired Dakota with a strong, impressive male dog, their puppies would likely inherit both their parents' excellent traits, potentially resulting in a litter of highly desirable puppies. These puppies could then be sold for a substantial profit. Convinced that this plan was sound, Paul began his search for the ideal male dog to breed with Dakota. The process of finding the perfect match was meticulous. Paul was determined to ensure that everything was just right for Dakota's first breeding. After an extensive search, he finally found a suitable male dog. The two dogs were bred, and Dakota soon became pregnant. When Dakota gave birth, she had 6 puppies, each one more adorable and charming than the last. Dakota was an exceptional mother, tending to her puppies with great care and affection. She nurtured them and protected them until the day came for them to join their new families. Paul, delighted with the outcome, made a significant profit from the sale of the puppies, further solidifying his resolve to repeat the process. Without delay, Paul sought out another male dog to breed with Dakota. They once again produced a litter of 6 puppies, and as expected, Dakota cared for them just as diligently. Paul's satisfaction with his financial gains from the sale of these puppies was palpable. Business seemed to be thriving. However, things took an unexpected turn when Dakota escaped from the garden one day and ran off. Paul only realized Dakota was missing when she was already heading towards the nearby forest. Despite his frantic search, Dakota didn't return home until several hours later. Paul was deeply worried but felt a profound sense of relief when Dakota finally came back. Days later, however, Paul was shocked to discover that Dakota was pregnant once again. The mystery of who had fathered this new litter was soon solved when Dakota gave birth to 5 puppies that looked distinctly wolf-like. It became clear that during her adventure in the forest, Dakota had mated with a wolf, resulting in this unusual and exotic litter. To Paul's astonishment, people were willing to pay handsomely for these wolf-like puppies. The unexpected twist proved to be a goldmine. Paul made double the profit from this particular litter compared to his previous ones. Excited by this unexpected turn of events, Paul decided to continue with the process Dakota had inadvertently started. Dakota subsequently had 2 more litters, each of which displayed some wolf-like qualities. It seemed as though the brief encounter with the wolf had left a lasting imprint on Dakota, affecting her subsequent litters. Paul was pleased with the profitability of these wolf-like puppies. He was reaping the rewards of his breeding endeavors, finding great financial success in the unique appearance of the puppies. However, it's important to remember that dogs, like humans, have limits. Their bodies are not built to continuously produce litters without consequence. Each pregnancy took a toll on Dakota, and the cycle of breeding was not without its impact on her well-being. Dakota, once a vibrant and beloved companion, began to show signs of fatigue and weariness. The toll of relentless breeding was evident in her body and spirit. Initially, Paul had cherished Dakota, reveling in their walks and playtimes. She was more than a pet. She was a friend and a source of joy. But as her role shifted from a cherished companion to a mere asset for profit, Paul's affection dwindled. Where he once enjoyed her company, he now saw her primarily as a money-making machine. As Dakota grew more exhausted from the repeated litters, Paul's patience wore thin. He became increasingly indifferent, neglecting her basic needs. Walks became infrequent, and sometimes he even forgot to feed her. Dakota, who had once been the center of Paul's world, now felt like a burden. The emotional and physical toll on Dakota was palpable, and even for a dog, this neglect was profoundly painful. One day, Paul decided to take Dakota for a walk, an unusual gesture given his recent behavior. Dakota's enthusiasm was immediate. She leaped up, eager to join him. Paul opened the car door, and she bounded into the back seat, excitedly anticipating their outing. They drove to the forest, a place they hadn't explored in depth for some time. Dakota reveled in the familiar setting, her joy evident as she ran, jumped, and barked with glee. It was a return to the simpler times they had once shared. Paul occasionally threw a ball for Dakota, and she would eagerly fetch it. But this time, Paul threw the ball with unusual force. It soared through the air, and Dakota chased after it, her speed and agility on full display. The ball bounced and rolled far from where Paul stood, and Dakota raced after it, determined to retrieve it. When she finally grabbed the ball, she looked up, expecting to return it to Paul, but he was nowhere to be seen. Confused and anxious, Dakota searched for him, but the forest was vast and silent. She had been abandoned, left alone without a clear path to find her way back. Desperate and disoriented, Dakota settled in the dirt, her initial confusion turning into exhaustion. She fell asleep, the forest around her dark and unfamiliar. Several hours later, Dakota woke up to a startling sight. A pack of wolves surrounded her, their curious eyes fixed on the stranded dog. The largest wolf approached, sniffing at Dakota with an air of familiarity. Then, to Dakota's amazement, the wolf began to groom her. It was the very wolf she had mated with during her earlier escape. Clearly, they recognized each other, and Dakota was welcomed into the pack. The sight of a domesticated dog being accepted by a pack of wild wolves was extraordinary. The pack's acceptance of Dakota was both strange and beautiful, a testament to the intricate connections of nature. Dakota soon found herself adopting her remarkable mothering skills to care for the pack's cubs. Her years of experience with puppies made her an ideal caregiver for these young wolves. The pack's trust in her was evident, as they allowed her to nurture and protect their young ones. Dakota's integration into the wolf pack marked a significant shift in her life. Over the years, she helped raise many wolf cubs, blending her dog-like traits with the wild instincts of her new family. While she became more attuned to the ways of the wild, her inherent happiness and curiosity remained intact. Dakota enjoyed the best of both worlds, bridging the gap between her past life as a pet and her new role within the wolf pack. Her time with the wolves allowed Dakota to thrive in a way she had never experienced before. She embraced her new life, her days filled with the natural rhythms of the forest and the nurturing role she had taken on. Despite the challenges and changes, Dakota found a sense of fulfillment and belonging among her wild companions. Her journey, from being a beloved pet to a key member of a wolf pack, was a remarkable testament to her resilience and adaptability. Perhaps it was Dakota's nurturing nature that made her an exceptional surrogate mother to the many puppies she cared for. Yet, on a warm summer evening, an unexpected danger loomed, one that nearly cost Dakota her life. As she wandered a bit away from the wolf pack, Dakota savored the evening air, sniffing trees and taking in her surroundings. The tranquility of the moment was shattered when rustling sounds emerged from behind her. 3 large wolves burst from the bushes, their menacing presence unmistakable. These were not members of her pack but intruders from a rival group, intent on violence. Dakota realized they viewed her as a potential meal. Though Dakota had spent years with her wolf pack, she had never encountered such hostility. The rival wolves, growling and baring their teeth, stalked her with deadly intent. Fear gripped Dakota as she lowered herself submissively to the ground. Separated from her pack, she felt utterly vulnerable. The rival wolves closed in, prepared to pounce. Just as the situation seemed dire, a new commotion arose from the bushes. 4 adolescent wolves charged out, attacking the intruders with surprising ferocity. The rival wolves were caught off guard and struggled against the younger wolves' swift and determined assault. The fierce battle raged for several minutes, but ultimately, The rival wolves were forced to retreat, wounded and defeated. As the dust settled, the adolescent wolves approached Dakota, sniffing her gently. Dakota looked up at her unexpected rescuers and recognized them immediately. These were some of the first cubs she had cared for years ago. In a poignant turn of events, the young wolves had come to repay Dakota's kindness and dedication. Though she was not a wolf by birth, her acts of compassion had earned her a place in their hearts. Surrounded by her grateful and loyal pack, Dakota realized she had truly found a family that valued her for who she was. In that moment, she understood the profound meaning of belonging and the deep connections she had forged with those she had nurtured.